Hi, everybody. It is the 24th of March. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see who is in the house. Analog Synth Player. Hello, Linty. Hello, Alicia. Hello, Phil. Strange. Hello, Space Indian. Mike Loft. Andrew Cruz. Something to chew on. Alicia. Hello again. Elizabeth Rivard. Thank you very, very much for showing up, and Sherry, of course. You know. You know. Thank you. Shauna Howard, Jay Northrup, let's see, James Brandenburg, Patricia White, Ray Clay, Laura Larson, Silent Walk, Kimberly Hollingsworth, AJ206, Hey, Sheepdog, Patriot, Tom, Faith Walker's Charities. Hi. Hi, Rick Yorkin. Lots of emoji waving from Rick. Hi, Super Painting 62. Oh, let's just start with our fabulous radar, our fabulous weather. Look at this. Oh, look. So it seems to be growing in a southerly direction. It's filling out the gaps. What's going on here? Nanotechnology controlling our weather. And you got the supercells in Oklahoma. You got some supercells here you got the tail of supercells in North and Central Texas. There was some flooding. I did show you the storms that took over, pretty much half of Florida. So people are rummaging through their soak-filled items that they own. But this is starting at 6:40 a.m. And it's interesting how cloud just kind of takes over nearly a good portion of the United States. Look at this. Manufactured cloud. They sure can manufacture a lot. And they sure do. So, having weird weather here, Arizona, cold, very windy, all day long, rain. Apparently, I guess rain is not so common in Arizona. So, it raining is... they have their monsoon season, but yeah, all of these little blips activated nanobots to create cumulus cloud. Anyone in their right mind can see that this is not normal. Microwaves make the evenly spaced cloud, and all of these blips. This is not how Mother Nature makes cloud. But don't we know it? Yes, we sure do. But they have flooded the atmosphere with these nanobots. Supercomputer, put in the coordinates, and voila, you've got weather. You've got weather. We sure do have an awful lot of cloud. Okay, so I'll throw the link into Zoom Earth. It's interesting. If you have nothing to do, you can play around and look at all of the geoengineering taking place, the manufacturing of cloud. So, yeah, okay. So we have an imperfect semicircle of storms that it's interesting how they connect, huh? And how we see this all the time now. Supercell creation. Supercell creation. Very rare do we just get rain. Well, the changing of the guard. The changing of people, the changing of our life, changing of the world. Tennessee Senate passed a bill to ban geoengineering over Tennessee. Good luck. Who could possibly look at this and think that that is natural cloud or contracts from planes? Just to put out the not chemtrails, but contracts. Who? We have a lot of people who think very oddly, but here is the hearing that Tennessee had. Tennessee Supreme Court this week voted to ban geoengineering in their state. No, the legislature. Supreme Court, no. Tennessee House, the House and the Senate to ban geoengineering, not the Supreme Court.
Any other questions? Chairman Todd. Thank you. It's been mentioned previously about chemtrails and, a natural occurrence that I've seen since, in my entire lifetime. I think when jets were invented, we started seeing chemtrails. It's a part of the fuel burning process, is my understanding. If you know something different, I'd love to know that. But also, as a follow-up to that, or second part of that, which is really the main point, do you know of specific instances, companies, entities that are utilizing this spraying of aerosols in our state right now? You recognize whoever wants to answer it.
Yes. Actually, it's mentioned in this report. So NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, NASA, that would be one. The Office of Science and Technology Policy, which is OSTP. There's quite a few of them, actually. They have different planes that go to different heights in the stratosphere. Some are more like a crop dusting plane and some go very high. But NASA and NOAA are the main ones. They're also academic centers that have their own airplanes as well. So those are the ones I could mention right off the top of my head.
I want to jump in here. Will you refer to the report you're referring to?
Is this congressionally mandated research plan and an initial research governance framework related to solar radiation modification? It was produced by the White House in June of 2023. It's a 44-page document that I believe you were
provided. Hello, Mama Rages. Nice to see you. So, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What is this? Storm causes major flooding through the region. What region is that? Well, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Jessica, how is it there tonight?
Richard, problems everywhere. We've been driving around the Garden State, and right now we're in Northburg.
For those of you who don't know what the Garden State is, it's New Jersey.
Right off West Side Avenue. And I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can take a live look at what's happening here. You see that? Oh, look at that truck there going by. I mean, I'm just shocked how many cars really see that there's a flood and they just say, heck, I'm just going to go right by. He actually made it. But you see those 4 cars there stuck underwater. And now 2 tow trucks are here to get them out. Now let's go over to Newark. Take a look at this video. We got a bunch of alerts of many street closures in Newark. Cars underwater. This is over in Meeker Avenue and Friegeling-Heisen Avenue. Drivers thinking that they were going to make it to the other side, but clearly not the case. They got stuck in the water, and this bike here, the man thought the same thing, that he could make it across, but no chance. Newark police turning trucks and cars away from the area. This intersection here is known to flood every time cars submerged in water. That's right off.
All right, so if homes aren't flooded out, rain, just simple rain, brings about all of this trouble for people. And weather modification, it's so easy to just do a little bit of research. Nope, won't do it. I have to believe in what mainstream media is telling me. It's climate change. Philadelphia.
In the Union River and in Darby Creek, and the drivers should steer clear. The department shared these photos on social media earlier today, informing people that barricades are up to keep drivers off the roads that are impacted by this flooding. Officers tell us they've been called to help rescue at least 3 drivers after their cars got stuck in the water. NBC 10's Karen Wise keeping her eye on the flooding. She joins us live from the Pennypack Creek in Holmesburg up in the Northeast. Karen, I know it's wet out there, so walk us through what you've been seeing today. And
from high winds at the junctions weren't. Firefighters rescue a woman and child from this car.
And this is outright like the car's over under the water right now. I mean,
So they changed their minds.
I'm not even going to risk going over that way.
This is what we're stuck with now. And this woman in Florida, I believe. Let me see. Yes.
This is the stuff that hurts.
Spent her morning sorting through boxes on boxes of her soggy things. She just moved into a new rental property on 18th Avenue South in Lake Worth Beach. Many of her things weren't even unpacked.
All our boxes were just have standing water in them, from our bedroom to our kids' rooms. Everything is just standing water. So now it's an assessment of what is salvageable and what's not.
Damage that's left over from Friday night's heavy rain, which flooded the street and several homes in the neighborhood.
The water was up to here, but I think after it recessed a little bit, it was here. Because when I stepped down, my thighs were wet when I came in through the window.
There was about 16 to 18 inches of rain on the street.
Robert Sir says his house has flooded before.
Not as bad as yesterday. My house has never flooded inside the house. The garage has flooded a few times, but inside the house has never flooded.
The City of Lake Worth Beach Utilities Director says Friday night's heavy rain made for especially bad conditions.
My understanding last night, we had an extremely high tide on a full moon, and we had a easterly fetch across the intercoastal. So I'm fighting Mother Nature and a localized storm event.
He explains that the city is currently working on a project to update a water pump at the end of the street that would help with street flooding. However, Marcia and her husband worried the pump wasn't running yesterday.
I don't know if they forgot to turn something on last night, but the general...
I don't know. They may have forgotten to turn something on. It's very sad what we've become here. Spain. Look at this.
No, mira. Uy, uy. Lo chocó. Lo chocó. Uy, Dios mío. No, que lo va a pasar. No, mira.
That's pretty intense. It started raining here again. The sun is out. Oh, now it's coming down. And it doesn't look like it should be raining, but it is. What's going on? Oh, boy. Got some fired up nanobots in this area. Wee bit of red. Supercell. Create rain. All right, let's get back to the news. Spain. Nairobi
mafeka movie za Hollywood na waroga ka witches wa Nollywood na pull crowds ka Ruto. I'm very good. Tunataka ona Monday, tunataka ona Tuesday, tunataka yani everyday. Ni hard work sio magic. Ni hard work sio magic. Ni hard work sio magic. Ni hard work.
So guys, this may look normal to you, this may look like natural to you, but this is not nature. This is just poor planning of roads. Just look at...
Oh, it's not poor planning of roads, though that could be part of it, but it's look into weather modification, geoengineering. Yes, all over the world, the weather terrorists are attacking us. Brazil.
Rains that hit towns in the south of Espírito Santo caused extensive damage to the city of Mimoso do Sul. Brazil. Heavy.
Yeah, everything's okay with our planet. Get rid of all of the evil little shits and we'd be doing okay. So yeah. Is there a difference between conservatives and liberals? Perhaps with the common people, there's a big difference. Is there a difference? Well, this was a very interesting read. Is there a difference between Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota, and Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada? Chuck Baldwin writes this article. Chuck says, I define tyranny as anything that promotes the power of the state to control people's lives and liberties beyond the natural laws of our Creator. I define liberty as anything that constrains the power of the state to control people's lives and liberties beyond the natural laws of our Creator. So, liberal Justin Trudeau. The Canadian government is rapidly advancing plans to usher in full-blown tyranny and will soon begin sentencing citizens to life in prison if they are found guilty of committing the crime of so-called hate. Many are likening the new laws to George Orwell's dystopian novel, 1984, as Canada will soon start handing out severe penalties for wrong think. The push for life sentences is part of Liberal Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's anti-hate legislation. It's true. Bill C-6. Everyone who commits an offense under this act or any other act of Parliament, if the commission of the offense is motivated by hatred based on race, national, ethnic, language, color, religion, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression, is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to imprisonment for life. Do I need to write that again? Read that again? My brain is very tired. Trudeau's World Economic Forum-controlled administration seeks to rapidly advance the nation's descent into globalist tyranny. Among the draconian new laws are powers that allow authorities to begin jailing citizens who might commit a crime. The new pre-crime authority, which officials claim will help to tackle so-called hate crimes. Okay. Now let's visit the other side of the ellipse, the right side, the conservative side. And it's not the right side. It's, the left and the right. Give me one moment. So, is that any different than what Kristi Noem is doing in South Dakota? Conservative. In signing a draconian, tyrannical hate law of her own in South Dakota, Noem, on the short list to be Trump's running mate, said the following: "When I was growing up, my dad would always gather our family together and we would pray for Israel." It doesn't matter what you did growing up, Kristi. What matters is that you actually continue to protect the freedoms of South Dakotans. You don't impose upon South Dakotans your belief. See, this is where the separation of state, government, religion, this is where it gets, separated out. This is such a self-centered, narcissistic thing to do, but it will help her politically. Yeah, pray for Israel. It was instilled in me from a very young age that the Jews were God's chosen people. There ain't no chosen people. Christians think they've got it. They're the ones. Jews think they're the ones. Evangelicals think Jews are the ones. I can't stand this world. It is so flippin' insane. Okay. So, Jews were God's chosen people, that Israel was the Holy Land, and that we should always pray for them. I brought those fundamental ideals with me when I was in the state legislature. You brought your beliefs with you to the state legislature. That is not what an elected politician is supposed to do. This life is giving me neck pain. When I served in Congress, and now as governor of South Dakota, supporting the state of Israel and our Jewish community has always been extremely important to me. It's important to support Israel for spiritual, historical, and national security reasons. I am continuing to stand with the Jewish people by signing historic legislation to protect them from anti-Semitism. While they commit genocide. She does this while genocide is being committed by the Zionist government, by the IDF, by our own fabulous government and military, American. Jesus, I can't stand it. So she's very proud. She was very proud to sign HB 1076, a bill that defines anti-Semitism and makes it easier to prove when discriminatory conduct is motivated by anti-Semitism. It is an impactful piece of legislation that will ensure the safety of Jewish people and strengthen South Dakota's anti-discrimination laws. If people are going to go after Jews, no piece of legislation is going to protect them. All right? What are you going to do? All the people who voice their displeasure at what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, are you going to jail them? Are you going to shut them up? They get penalized because they have a different take on what's taking place than you do, Kristi? That's your belief, something to chew on. One God, Lord Jesus. Okay. So Christians, they're the only ones with the God. God. This bill puts the gold standard International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism into the state law. Now, this was on Lou Rockwell's site, and making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypic allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as collectives, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media economy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People can form their own opinions. Hopefully it's based on research, based on facts, based on evidence. But yeah, no other ethnic or religious group in America is afforded any such privileges. So, like Candace Owens has asked, what makes the Jews so special? Trump is 100% on the side of Israel. And she's lining up to be, perhaps, vice president, running mate with Trump. Is this part and parcel her steps towards, oh, please let me be the vice president? The woman, I've actually respected her. I have none anymore. None anymore. It is amazing. But Chuck Baldwin, yeah. Notice that virtually everything in this list, and you can pause the video and read, the definition of anti-Semitism, which is so outrageous, but okay, fine. Notice that virtually everything in this list defining anti-Semitism focuses on speech, attitudes, or thoughts, allegations, accusing, denying, denying, applying, using. All of this refers to speech, attitudes, or thoughts. And Kristi Noem, conservative, is no different than Trudeau. And it's interesting to me that you put the label of conservative on people, and then they're defined just with that one word. How many conservatives have canceled people like Candace Owens, like, others, for simply speaking the truth about what's taking place in Israel and Gaza right now? You get destroyed. These are the conservatives who have talked a good game about how important it is. Freedom. First Amendment. How important. But if you speak something that doesn't jive with their beliefs or their agenda, canceled. Conservatives and liberals ain't much different. Ain't much different. And I've been thinking about this, the whole, oh my God, you speak anything, you criticize Zionists or, Jews or Israelis, whatever, you hate Jews. And I realized just in the last couple of days, I thought, okay, if I say anything about Christian hypocrisy or, I hate Christians. I've gotten that for about 13 years. No difference between Christians and Jews who want to throw out, you hate, just to shut people up. Yeah. So a whole lot of people are really upset about, these anti-Semitism slights that are thrown at people. And I realized a whole lot of Christians do the same thing, and oh boy, it is really, the religion stuff is like, it really screws up a lot. Kristi Noem is abusing the power of government in an attempt to deny people their First Amendment freedom of speech and freedom of religion. If Noem wants to believe that the Ashkenazi Jews in the Middle East are God's chosen people, she can do that. But she doesn't get to say that other people can't. I can't believe she's done this. But she has. All right, so left, right, liberal, conservative, secularist, religious, atheist, it all spells tyranny. If they are meeting at the bottom of the ellipse, as Justin Trudeau and Kristi Noem are doing right now. Same with Trump. Same with, Ben Shapiro. All of them. Why can't we just be? Why can't we just be? So, where water stress will be highest by 2050? Extremely high Chile, in South Africa, in a whole lot of Middle Eastern states, and India, high Mexico, what is it, Peru? Yeah, Australia. But too bad people just don't know about primary water, and you just keep, it just feels like you're, knocking your head against the wall. They're causing this deliberately. And we all know that. FDA settles ivermectin case, agrees to remove controversial Stop It post. It's agreed to remove social media posts and web pages that urge people to stop taking ivermectin to treat COVID-19. Well, isn't that interesting? Huh? So, who are the great disseminators of disinformation and misinformation? Government. Not the people, government. Dangerous levels of toxins found in General Mills loaded cereal. Trix Loaded? Is that the name of that cereal? Loaded with heavy metals and agro chemicals. I can't imagine anybody who's awake who would actually put this on the breakfast table for their kids, but I threw this in just in case. Chrysler recalls 286,000 vehicles over airbag concerns. What am I highlighting come off? It's the Dodge Charger and Chrysler 300 model years are 2018 through 2021. That's a lot of vehicles. The side airbag inflators in the cars may rupture, which could hurt or even kill people. We don't seem to know how to make anything anymore. And yeah, the planes. The plane. Some nervous travelers are changing their flights to avoid Boeing airplanes. One nervous traveler touches the outside of the airplane while boarding and prays before takeoff. Another brings anti-anxiety medication. A third has been watching YouTube videos narrated by pilots to understand what happens during flights. Such rituals have helped anxious passengers overcome their fear of flying. But in recent months, several travelers said news of issues on Boeing planes has made their strategies insufficient and has threatened their ability to walk down the jetway. So they have come up with a plan. Avoid flying on Boeing aircraft. even if it means rebooking flights. I just can't step on that plane. That's what a passenger said. Even if the chance of getting hurt on a Boeing flight, even with all of these incidents, is slim, I just can't get on a Boeing. It's not just Boeing. But I'm not going to tell anybody that, because they'll load up on their anti-anxiety medication. Skyrocketing male infertility may threaten mankind's survival. How many years have I been talking about the fertility crisis all over the world? But here in America, it's a wow. Fertility crisis. An awful lot of women cannot get pregnant. What does that mean? It could very well mean the end of the human species as we know it. But when you hear people talk about, oh, the population explosion, climate change, and then talking about how many people are on the planet, maybe you can set them right. Maybe you can tell them. But we've had a fertility crisis now, I'm guessing on the years, but it's been at least 15, it's probably 2 decades. It hasn't gotten better, it's only gotten worse. So if it's 2 decades, that's a whole lot of people who have not been born, and we know that an awful lot of people are dying. So, you can set them straight. No. Less and less people inhabit the earth. Global population set to fall for the first time in 700 years. Oh, more evidence. Major study published in scientific journal, The Lancet, has found that the global population will start to fall within decades due to vastly reduced fertility rates and may never recover. Oh, and the study was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Okay. Oh boy, yeah. Higher risk of seizures in toddlers shortly after that. Whoops. That. The FDA study has found there's a higher risk of seizures in toddlers shortly after. Even if it's an FDA study, my saying something like that on YouTube could get me a community guideline strike. FDA study, and YouTube could claim that it's medical misinformation. Okay, trust me. High risk of seizures. Do you think parents maybe should do some research about, those sharp things that are really causing an awful lot of illness? Don't you think that if parents actually love and care and took their responsibilities seriously, they would do that? Toddlers, seizures, high risk. But shoot 'em up. And white Americans are more likely to succumb to deaths of despair than minorities. I could actually see that. Deaths of despair describes fatalities resulting from drug overdose, alcohol-related diseases, and suicide, which have notably surged among less educated white Americans since the 2000s. Well, I sure do know an awful lot of educated white Americans who have succumbed to suicide, drug overdoses, and yeah. What's going on? I get distracted by the chat and I don't want to. Chick-fil-A announces that it will no longer serve antibiotic-free chicken. What? Supply reasons. To maintain supply of the high-quality chicken you expect from us, Chick-fil-A will shift from no antibiotics ever to no antibiotics important to human medicine starting in the spring of 2024. Isn't it better for no antibiotics ever than no antibiotics important to human medicine? Okay. Well, that looks lovely, doesn't it? Well, just in case you eat Chick-fil-A, wanted to let you know. Spending deal bans flying pride flag over U.S. diplomatic buildings. Why were we flying these LGBTQ flags on our embassies all over the world? And if the flag is up, you're going to ban flying the pride flag now? How much money is that going to save? You're going to take down the flag. And it could, well, maybe if it needs to be folded in an official, formal manner, it could, all right, let's say an hour. $20? What? Yeah, spending deal. This is in the budget. We're no longer going to fly the pride flag over U.S. diplomatic buildings. Just, I guess, the U.S. flag. Well, that should have always been the way it goes, and it should never have flown the pride flag. But hey, anyone who doesn't want these books banned in schools is a groomer, period. Or is a sick, twisted something. Look at this. My God. Yeah. Okay. For kids. Right? For kids. For kids. For kids. Fabulous. That this has been going on in schools for years and years and years and years, and Americans can't even get this stopped. There's something wrong with our population. And this man canceled his Planet Fitness membership and told the manager it's because they allowed men in the locker rooms, women and children, girls.
So I just left, canceled my membership. I went in, the lady who helped me out, she was new, she was in training. She got to the point where she asked the reason why I was canceling it, and I informed her about the Alaska situation and the Planet Fitness non-discrimination policy and how they sided with the man in the bathroom, and they revoked the lady's membership in Alaska. And she's like, I never heard of that. And I can believe it because she's new to the Planet Fitness. But what got me was when it got to the point where she had to put in the reason for the cancellation, she asked the manager what she should put in there, and she told him what I had said. He said, well, we can't put that. And they put a different reason in there to justify my cancellation. So not only is Planet Fitness siding with the trans non-discrimination thing, But now they're covering it up. Instead of admitting what they did was wrong, they hid the reason why I canceled my membership. Doesn't matter. I'm no longer a member. They're no longer going to get another penny of my money, and I hope every one of you do the same thing.
They wouldn't write down the reason that he gave for canceling his membership. And apparently, it's now doubling down. Planet Fitness is now quadrupling down on defending men in women's locker rooms. They reportedly assigned a staffer specifically to accompany this man so he can safely and comfortably enter the women's locker room. Okay. Yeah. A staffer, so he has a bodyguard. This is how sick and twisted our society has become. It's very upsetting. Do everything to protect the trans man who wants to go into the women's locker room, and do nothing to protect the girls and the women. Their comfort means nothing to Planet Fitness. God is looking out for the kids? Oh, really? Well, when you come up with evidence of that, I'd like to see it. And yeah, I can't even go there, but thank God there are the young who have been able to maintain their sanity, their critical thinking, their independent thinking, their own self. Much needed. We need a whole lot of what you're going to hear right now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and only ladies and gentlemen it is and shall always be. I am an 18-year-old high school student and wanted to take this time to bring to your attention the current issue with biological men claiming they are women and in turn truly believing that they are entitled to use women's spaces. There was an incident within our district that occurred recently regarding a transgender woman who really is a biological man having an altercation with a young woman at MLK High School. It was infuriating when I had seen the video on social media, but what was detrimental to this is the fact that this man is and has been using the women's restroom and locker room. Firstly, the question we must address is why are we affirming the mental confusion of this boy and putting the safety of women in jeopardy by allowing mentally confused men to use the women's spaces? Of course, any male who claims he is a woman will accept it. But what about the women? What about the true girls like myself who are female down to our DNA? Why don't we ever get a say in whether or not we are comfortable with this? The truth is, we aren't. The majority of us aren't, and yet nothing has been done to protect the safety of these women. I will conclude with this. It all starts with you. You are in charge of the safety of us women and the kids of our parents. So please do something about it. Thank you.
Oh, nice. They won't do a thing. They won't do a thing. I'll be very surprised if they do anything, but apparently John Jay High School in Wappingers Central School District in New York State. All gender restrooms. High schoolers walk out as adults push transgenderism. They don't want this agenda pushed on them. Bunch of people from our school, John Jay, feel uncomfortable. Oh boy. Adults have to really start screaming up. Screaming. Adults have to start protecting the children. Jeff Bezos' ex-wife giving most of $640 million to donations to extreme left groups boasting migrant criminals, trans athletes. Oh boy, the criminals funding the takedown of our country. So she'll provide 67 migrant advocacy organizations a combined $122 million for legal aid and other assistance, according to an analysis of 361 awards she announced Tuesday through her foundation Yield Giving. Big winners include the Florida Immigrant Coalition, which vehemently opposes DeSantis' crackdown on migrants who commit crimes, and the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition, which is fighting that state's efforts to increase illegal migrant enforcement. Both scored $2 million each. By the way, nothing to help the elderly, nothing to help the homeless. She could put in a fund millions and millions of dollars to help the elderly stay in their homes. And so much more good stuff. Can you imagine having that kind of money where you're just, all right, I'll donate $640 million to literally destroy the country, to help all of these illegal migrants. Other awards include $117 million to 67 prisoner advocacy groups and other organizations helping jailbirds and ex-cons, and $72 million to 43 groups promoting gender identity, sexual orientation, and other LGBTQ causes, such as champion the rights of biological boys who identify as transgender girls to compete in female sports. You sick motherfucker. And then she's earmarked another $18 million to 10 groups pushing clean energy. Yeah. Capitalism made you mega rich. And everything you're doing is to destroy it and destroy it and destroy it. Bring about a cultural revolution. And this is what we're talking about. So this was all ages family-friendly pride event in Tampa, Florida yesterday. All ages. All ages. Look at this girl. Oh my God. These are, I guess, like ice cream pops or some, oh my God. I just feel sick to my stomach. Pope Francis faces growing revolt. Well, he is revolting. So he's facing this growing dissent among members of the Catholic Church over recent decisions that opponents portray as contrary to traditional church doctrine. The most controversial is the Pope's approval, mooting the possibility of blessing couples in irregular situations and same-sex couples. This has been going on for many years, and Catholics, if you're giving money to the Catholic Church at this point, wow, you need your head examined. Yeah. All right, I cannot go there. So much I just can't go anywhere near anymore.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
So, synthetic reality. Life is going to be getting even more surreal and just wow. Wow. And you're not going to know who's speaking what and what the truth is, and it's going to be a wild ride. Despite Supreme Court rulings, states are still confiscating people's homes. Yes. Pay your taxes, pay them up. Horses taught Christine Searle the importance of being fair, intelligent, and innately honest creatures. Horses know deceit when they see it. Oh, yes, they do. She wishes they could teach that principle to the state of Arizona. All right. Government is still stealing people's homes. Regardless, we are not a country ruled by law anymore. All right? So you guys know that, right? The rule of law is gone. 70-year-old horse trainer and Arizona native is on the verge of losing her life savings over an unpaid $1,607.68 property tax bill. I owed them the money, and that's what they should get, the money I owed them. But no, they take all of it. And that's what states have been doing. There's apparently 22 states, 21 states, 10 states. All right. The states are Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and South Dakota. And you got a little wiggle room to pay off any property tax that is in arrears. But if you don't make it, then the state can literally put you into foreclosure. And it doesn't matter how much. This one is $1,000 on a home that now has been assessed to even go up to $500,000. $1,600 something. And they'll put you into foreclosure. They auction off your house. Do they just take what is owed these states? They take it all, leaving you with nothing. Is that fair? No. Why can't people see that our government is a criminal enterprise? And yeah, this whole, the white supremacy, it's still going on and on and on, and I'm amazed because if black people were oppressed in our country, we wouldn't have so many very successful black Americans. I didn't even know who Tyler Perry was. He's got 40,000 acres, a $100 million home. Perfect representation of how white supremacy keeps us blacks oppressed.
Rock coat, can't have it. Got a free rock, little daddy.
Let my crew try some codeine. She brought new Celine.
Wow. Wow. I feel bad that this guy is so oppressed. Oh boy. Life, man. Is it buffering? Well, this is what I'm stuck with. So, just going to play this for a few minutes. No, it's not even a few minutes. I think it's just a couple of 49 seconds. Here we go.
Sure that there is, we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They in fact make sure that there is, we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
4 years later.
Yeah, that's what he said. He literally told these people to come to the border, surge the border. Do you remember that? I do. I do. But this is not a Democrat-Republican thing. It's not blue-red. The Republicans have not done anything to protect the border as well. This has been going on for decades. Yeah, decades. All they have to do is enforce immigration law. But you hear all of these congressional reps who are Republicans. Do they ever talk? Maybe some, probably Massey, Kentucky, says all that's needed is to enforce immigration law. It's not complicated. We don't have to write this bipartisan legislation, historic piece of legislation to control what's happening at the border. No, we have to enforce immigration law. You don't hear a whole lot of that from Republicans. Upset New Yorker speaks about the illegal migrant crisis. Take care of your children.
Just feel like as far as the country, take care of your citizens before the 400,000 people you got from South America. Because there's a shitload of people in New York, Chicago, Louisiana, Oklahoma, shit everywhere who are still fucked up. You still got Native Americans who are asking for shit. And mind you, they lost their country. But now you worried about people from Venezuela who got hotel rooms in Times Square? How dare you? Just feel like as far as the country, take care of your citizens before the 400,000 people you got from South America. Because there's a shitload of people in New York, Chicago, Louisiana, Oklahoma, shit everywhere who are still fucked up. You still got Native Americans who are asking for shit. And mind you, they lost their country. But now you worried about people from Venezuela who got hotel rooms in Times Square? How dare you?
Yeah. That's what we're doing. You know, Americans need to care. They need to care. Every day a military battalion crosses illegally through the U.S. southern border, and this was posted today. Anthony Aguirre.
Oh. Carolina del Norte. ¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador.
¿A dónde vas?
New Jersey.
Where are you from? Synagogue? Where are you going? New York? Where are you from? You going to New York? Thank you. You? New York. Thank you. You?
New York.
Thank you. You?
New York.
Thank you. You?
New York.
New York? You? Thank you. You? Thank you. You? New York? Where you going?
New York.
Thank you. Where you going? Thank you. ¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador.
¿Dónde vas?
A Chicago.
¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador.
¿Dónde vas?
Chicago.
¿Dónde vienes?
¿Dónde vas?
Atlanta.
¿Dónde vienes?
Colombia.
¿Dónde vas? Where you from? Where? Where you going? Chicago? New York? Where? Where?
What?
Where you going?
No. Bari. Ohio.
Ohio. Thank you. Where you from?
Ohio.
Thank you. You?
Kansas.
Kansas. You?
From City.
From.
Isn't it interesting? Look at all of these military-aged men. Oh, and it goes on. For 2 minutes and 22 seconds, it just goes on. And I find it very interesting. All of these military-aged men coming in. Okay, it's not going to stop. You all know this is not going to stop. That's why I've been pushing. You got to get your community together, do something, make sure your family's strong. You know, don't start dramas on insignificant crap. Yeah. Keep tensions, low. Try to work on your stress, because this is not going to be pretty. And alone, forget about it. You ain't surviving. I don't think anybody's going to be surviving, but some may survive longer if they have community support. Very, very important. If you can talk to your neighbors, you might want to organize a group of people. Yeah, and you might want to do it fast, real fast. I'll post a link and you can watch. It's, I think it's about 6 minutes. Muckraker breaks into one of the migrant shelters in New York, Randall Island, and he talks to the security guards, and it's a big, big operation. A lot of people from South America, a lot of men from Africa and South America. And one of the security guards said, the South Americans are more prone to violence than the Africans. But what are we doing? What are we doing, Americans? What are we doing here? Tucson, Arizona. So I posted this video. I can't get to the comments. Okay. There's a lot of comments, and I was reading them, and I thought to myself, it's such a shame that there are so many people who are still stuck in this matrix, believing that, you voted Democrat, you get what you vote for. A whole lot think Trump is going to save the day. Trump could have built that wall. Why didn't? It was all the bullshit about, the monies that had to go back to the Pentagon. I can't remember exactly what was going on, but something was going on. And I have to tell you, so this is not just happening in Tucson, it's happening everywhere.
If you live in the Tucson, Arizona area or anywhere around Tucson, listen up. This is what is going to be happening. Come April 1st, your city will no longer be able to house and take care of all of these illegal migrants that are entering into Arizona and coming to Tucson. April 1st, they're out of money. So far, the federal government has been funding Tucson $1 million a week to take care of these illegal migrants. They're housing them, feeding them, giving them clothes, giving them medical care, airplane tickets, you name it, they're getting it. But the money is gone. And the government leaders of Tucson, Arizona say, we don't want to rely upon the citizens' taxpayer money to pay for these migrants. So we will be releasing them out into the streets of Tucson. Once the people enter, once the migrants cross over into America, they'll be loaded up on the Border Patrol buses. They'll be processed, and then they'll be sent into Tucson, Arizona. One government leader, she said, well, they're going to hang out in Tucson until they figure out where their final destination is. Like they're literally on a trip, where their final destination is as to where they want to fly to in America. It is very frightening. President Biden, he has been in Arizona the past couple of days, and he's been begging the Latino voters. He says, I need your vote. Latino voters helped me win in 2020, so he's in desperate need of these Arizona Latino voters to vote for him. He says that Trump despises Latinos, and he says that Trump said that these open borders is poisoning America, which it is. I totally agree with that. This is not sustainable. We cannot take all these people in. We don't know who's coming in. Dangerous criminals are coming in, and we cannot take care of these people. We need to secure our borders. This is a travesty, a crime to the American people, and if you live in Tucson, be prepared. It's coming your way. I know it's already there, but it's going to be worse.
Oh boy.
Anywhere.
So for anyone who thought that she was talking about Biden coming and asking Latinos for the 2020 election, that's not what she said. When I first listened to it, that's what I thought she was saying. What she said was, Biden has said Latinos helped, past tense, helped me get into office in 2020. But it is so upsetting to hear this kind of discourse, Biden claiming that Trump thinks Latinos are disgusting or whatever. To hear this is, it first of all, ooh, talk about walking the low road. But I think to myself about the kids who listen to this and think that that's proper talk, proper communication, proper discourse. There's no way to escape the madness. When you look at the damage that has been done to the younger generations, especially the Gen Zs, and what came after the Gen Zs? What is that generation called? The best that you can hope for is what you do in your own communities. What you do. Not what you say, but what you do in your own communities. To try to, first of all, stay sane and to develop some kind of, community. Scottsdale home invasion suspects tied to South American theft gang. This is in Arizona.
Information about arrests made in connection to a series of home burglaries targeting upscale neighborhoods.
This had a lot of people on edge. Police say that they are tied to a nationwide South American theft gang. Desiree Fluellen joining us with the latest. And Des, there's a lot to go through.
Oh, there's a lot of information coming out of this presser with Scottsdale Police. So Scottsdale Police Chief Jeff Walther has confirmed that those individuals arrested are professionals. He referred to them as crime tourists. So they're part of the South American theft gang. And right now, 32-year-old Gracia Castillo, there on your right, and 23-year-old Sebastian Soto, his mugshot is new, and a 17-year-old juvenile are all in custody, all from Santiago, Chile. The arrests come after the group attempted to burglarize a home in the Desert Highlands neighborhood near Pima and Yearling Roads. This is video of a prior theft and burglary. They hit in the evening hours when they suspect that nobody is home. But the case that we're talking about that led to these most three recent arrests happened Sunday night around 8:30. It was an attempt because they were scared off by the homeowner who had immediately called police. An officer on patrol in the area almost immediately found Castillo. Her suspicious behavior, driving slowly, looking around, even pulling over, were red flags. And when asked for her ID, she handed the officer her Chilean passport. The other two men that she was with were hiding in the desert. Eventually, with the help of DPS and heat sensing technology, the other two men were arrested early Monday morning.
This is not a Scottsdale.
All right, just make sure that you've got security and that your awareness has been hardwired. So, 2 Honduran immigrants charged with attempted murder after an Interstate 65 shooting in Indiana.
Say the incident began with the dispute between customers at this restaurant here behind me. When the victim got into his car to leave the parking lot, 2 suspects allegedly followed him for at least 5 miles before one of the suspects allegedly opened fire on the victim's car and then sped away. Here on I-65 near Southport Road early Sunday morning, a driver was shot in the back of the head. That victim survived and called police to report the crime.
Yet another senseless shooting, another senseless act of violence. A moment of a decision, a bad decision, changes lives forever.
The victim told state police he was at this restaurant on South Keystone before the shooting. Witnesses there claim the victim harassed one suspect to buy him drinks, then told the business owner the suspect was carrying a gun. The suspect responded by calling the victim a snitch. Surveillance cameras in the parking lot later showed 2 suspects get into this SUV. One of the men then placed a hat or clothing over the back license plate.
I think it's pretty obvious they didn't want anybody to know who they were or where they were.
With the license plate partially covered, the suspect...
So we're having problems with these illegal migrants who are coming across the border, not vetted at all. And just imagine all of the sleeping cells when they activate. Oh boy. Kamala Harris announces Department of Justice funded office to push red flag gun laws, gets slammed by Parkland dad over photo op. New national office that will assist states in implementing red flag laws, which will be allowed for by a judge like this guy, who is so flippin' corrupt, to approve the temporary removal of firearms from a person believed to be a danger to themselves or others by a prosecutor like this. Can you guess? New York. Letitia. Harris announced the new office, the Federal Extreme Risk Protection Order Resource Center, at Parkland, Florida, on Saturday, where she toured the site of the 2018 Marjory Stoneman Douglas school shooting that killed 17. Okay, 2018. I wish that we were just back there. I wish we could transport ourselves just back to 2018. And oh boy, life was just a bowl of cherries then. Nothing like what we're living now. Red flag laws have already been implemented in 21 states, and of which the White House said that just 6 had taken advantage of $750 million in funding made available by the 2022 bipartisan Safer Communities Act enacted by the Biden administration. There are not 2 parties. Meanwhile, the father of a victim of the Parkland shooting, Ryan Petty, slammed Harris. He said the Vice President and the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention made it very clear to families early on that nothing short of nuke gun control was going to satisfy them in protecting our nation's schools. And that is just a slap in the face to those of us that have worked for 6 years now to try to protect our nation's schools. There are so many ways that we can protect our kids and our teachers at school that don't require the infringement on the Second Amendment. This is Ryan. Second Amendment rights of law-abiding gun owners around the country. Petty added, but the Vice President and the Office of Gun Violence Prevention don't want to hear any of these solutions. What they want to do is create an opportunity for the Vice President to spout gun control talking points at a site that, quite frankly, is hollowed ground at this point. What's frustrating to me is that this building should have been demolished years ago, and it's now being used as a photo op for politicians that want to push an agenda. Well, that's the American way, Ryan. That's the American politician. They always have an agenda. And for sure, one of the agendas is to get rid of the guns from law-abiding citizens. Yeah. Philadelphia sets 11 p.m. curfew for all businesses in drug-riddled Kensington section of city. How many times have I said they use crime to control people? Curfews on kids. At night, they have to be home. Baltimore had one of them. Can't remember the other communities. And other kinds of curfews, and it just left my brain. It flew out the window, I guess. They control people with crime. That's why they're letting the crime rip. So, Philadelphia's drug-ridden Kensington section is all but shutting down. The area, best known for its zombie-like appearance, is now forcing 24-hour businesses like gas stations and convenience stores to shut down between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. And will it hurt those businesses? Oh, yes. What better way to address the drug problem than to shut down law-abiding businesses in the area? Well, there's better ways, but hey, this is the way of tyrants. And 7,000 illegals arrive in Lampedusa, Italy, in 36 hours. And understand the United States is receiving more than this every day. So, Lampedusa had another unloading. Italy. Tiny island. Tiny island. We're being destroyed bad. They are putting up facial recognition cameras in UK neighborhoods, and if you walk past it with your phone, it takes your IP address.
Public announcement. Look what they're putting up in the ends. Yeah? Facial recognition with the cameras, and also if you walk past it with your phone, it takes your IP address. It takes your IP address. So if you're coming on the block, yeah, just know that this thing takes your IP address when you walk past it. They're setting it up now. Yeah? They put something else there as well on the block. You see that? Yeah. Facial recognition, walk past it, take your IP address.
The structure is still unfolding. The cost of living is an absolute joke in the UK.
Cost of living in England is just an absolute fucking joke. I've been back a week today, and this is no word of a lie. I've spent £600 out of my bank and £200 cash, and I haven't even fucking done anything. Money just seems to go absolutely fucking nowhere here. In Thailand, I was spending 200 quid a week and living the high life. Here I've spent, 800 quid, and it's been nothing but a struggle. I don't even know what I've even done to spend 800 quid. Money just comes and goes in this country. This country is so fucked. Everything is just so expensive. Everyone is so miserable. Ugh. miserable. Everything's so negative, and you can see why, because everyone's getting up with a negative attitude. Even today, it's Sunday, it's Mother's Day. I'm sure people are waking up today negative. But how can you be positive when everything's so bleak, everything's so depressing, life's so hard? All we do is work, slave away, just to get by, just to put a roof over your fucking head. Surely we're meant for more as human beings. Do you people not understand this? The fact that this country is just constantly just fucking destroying you in everything you do. They're constantly stripping you of all your positivity, all your money, all your happiness, all your smiles. It's Mother's Day today, so I want to give a shout out to all you mums out there, and I hope you get everything you deserve and have a nice day, and just completely just try not to think about it and be present with your kids today. But this country is just so fucking unbearably
Unbearably depressing? Is that what he was going to say? It's unfortunate there's so many more of us than there are of them, and they are literally destroying us. And they destroy slowly. So a whole lot of people think those in the comfortable bubble who don't want to get out, the awake, comfortable bubble, don't want to get out, don't recognize that the shit has hit the fan for millions and millions and millions. That number just keeps increasing every single day. See, if they did it all at once, maybe people would get the idea of, oh shit, we're at war. They do it slowly. And the people in the comfortable bubble have this idea that, well, they weren't positive. And they're lazy. And they're this. And they're that. And they judge them. So they get marginalized. They shut up. They don't want to talk. They so desperately need help. They're scared to ask. You don't hear from them. You hear from people in the comfortable bubble. The shit has hit the fan. It's hitting the fan every single day. Splat on a whole lot of lives. So, I guess people are waiting for the shit to hit the fan. What, to do something? No. Ireland rises. Sorry, I had to do something. Yeah, no matter how deep inside this New World Order we are, no matter how deep inside the tyranny that we are, I have a lot of respect for people who stand up and do something. Because I don't care about the result. Well, it would be fabulous if the result was fabulous, but the ripple effect is very, very important. Ripple. Oh God, here comes another one. Carol attacking God followers again. Oh God. Wow. Oh, so sad. People can't hear. They only hear what they want to hear. And yeah, that's me. I attack God's followers. Oh, whatever. I'm so tired. What's the point? No difference between, Jew claiming that everybody's anti-Semitic for, any kind of criticism, of behaviors that need to be criticized. 15-minute cities is something that the World Economic Forum has created called C40.
15-minute cities is something that the WEF has created called C40, and it's called C40 cities. I would urge you to certainly look on the internet about it, and then go to all of the TikTokers and see what they're really saying. Basically, you won't be able to drive a petrol or diesel car anymore. You'll have to buy electric. If you want food, you will get a calorie-controlled system sent to you by text saying, this is what you can eat today. This is what you can have today. If you violate any of these things, they'll freeze your bank account. That is the next step. These are stages in which they're going to implement this stuff. And this was signed up by the WEF, and the WEF has signed up with our mayor in London as the chair. And he has gone around the world to communicate this C40 to all of the countries in the world. And most of the countries are looking at adopting it. Now, I am going to abolish it. It is a hopeless position. We are going to be in an open prison, or shall we say a COVID, for the rest of our lives. We will not be able to work unless it's in our 15-minute city. It's diabolical. It's not this is not the right thing. And it's been hidden from the public. No one's talking about it.
Yeah, well, actually a lot of people have been talking about it. The problem is hardly anybody is listening. Hardly anybody is listening. That's a big problem. So, yeah, so the problem is hardly anybody is listening. Australia yeah. I mean, there's so much still that we could do. Yeah. And thank God.
Just say yes, be a crowd pleaser. Eat that, forget it, let them get amnesia. Poison everything they breathe. Everything is going to plan. Everything is going to plan. Everything is going to plan. Everything is going to plan.
Injured or dead. A whole lot of people did this throughout the years. UK, Australia, other countries. Did we do anything like this here in our country? Did I miss it? Russia launches major airstrike on Ukraine. Oh,
Air raid sirens sounded in Kyiv after a wave of Russian missile strikes against Ukraine on Sunday. Residents made their way into subway stations to seek shelter. Kyiv said the airstrikes struck critical infrastructure in western Ukraine and that air defenses destroyed about a dozen missiles over the capital. One Russian cruise missile briefly flew about a mile into Polish airspace and stayed there for 39 seconds, according to Poland's defense minister. Russia has been pounding Ukraine for days in attacks portrayed by Moscow as revenge for Ukrainian attacks carried out during Russia's presidential election.
And on oil refineries, and things are heating up between Russia and Ukraine. Poland to demand explanation from Moscow after missile breaches its airspace during Ukraine attack, and Poland has activated their military. Okay. Doesn't seem very good and doesn't seem very promising. US and NATO issue rare solidarity messages after Moscow attack as death toll rises to 137. Bizarre terrorist confession emerge. Oh, it's ISIS. How did we know it's ISIS so quickly? The United States strongly condemns yesterday's deadly terrorist attack in Moscow. We're standing in solidarity with the people of Russia. Okay. NATO issued their condolence, but I find it interesting because, frankly, that terrorist attack, ISIS, is us. So I always think it's very interesting how we kill, then we hand out condolences, and then we kill again. Wild confession by the captured Moscow Mall attacker. He claimed to have done it for money. Well, that's what proxy soldiers do. They join for money. You know, if you think ISIS is a Muslim group of men who want to kill everybody and, I don't know, form a caliphate, whatever. No. No. It is the United States and Israel, their proxy army, terrorist group.
When did you arrive from Turkey? What did you do in Turkey? My documents expired, so I crossed the border. Once again, your full name. Year of birth, 1998. What did you do in Crocus yesterday? What did you do in Crocus? I was shooting. You were shooting? You were shooting who? Why? For money. Money? Let's put him up.
Yeah, well. Oh. This world is getting very tiring. Glenn Greenwald writes, I have no idea who perpetrated that horrific attack in Moscow, but note how immediately, mindlessly, and unquestioningly most of the U.S. corporate media treats the evidence-free pronouncements of the U.S. government as gospel truth. ISIS did it. ISIS-K did it. That's what we do. China attacks Philippine ship, injures crew in latest escalation of South China Sea standoff. Oh, escalation is definitely a word that you can use. Well, look at Russia, look at Ukraine, escalation, Poland, yeah, terrorist escalation. China Sea, yeah, okay, escalation. Lebanon, Israel, Yemen, escalation. Iran backed, US backed, okay, well, militia groups, escalation. Chinese-owned tanker hit by Houthi missile despite safe passage deal. Was it a mistake? One would hope. China and Russia made a deal with Iran-backed Houthis for safe passage of their commercial vessels through the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. All right, well, a ballistic missile fired by Houthi rebels hit a Panamanian flag, but you know what? This is coming from U.S. Central Command. We haven't heard from Yemen yet. So was it really the Houthis, or did we hit China's ship and we're blaming it on the Houthis? Egypt's atrophy could revive the Brotherhood. Egypt now may be another country that is just going to fall. The unprecedented political, economic, and social crises in Egypt may trigger a resurgence of the Muslim Brotherhood, which has historically filled gaps the state cannot meet. Ticking time bomb. So the president is fearful of the impending social upheaval anticipated as a result of the state's faltering economy, flawed fiscal policies, decline in Arab world clout, and Egypt's impotence in the face of Israel's ethnic cleansing of Gaza. All ingredients for a potential powder keg primed to detonate. Commentators suggest the next explosion could be of an unprecedented scale, eclipsing the Breed Intifada of 1977, January 25th, the revolution of 2011. I found it interesting because an awful lot of people early on were saying, well, none of the Arab countries want the Palestinians, and look, Egypt doesn't want them. Do you understand that Egypt is controlled by the United States? Controlled by the United States. Yeah. The United States put in that president. Oh, and now they're bringing down Egypt. Ex-ISIS chief appointed as commander of U.S.-backed militia. Iranian-backed, U.S.-backed, in Syria. An ex-ISIS chief. I guess he's transformed or what? The Syria Free Army, a U.S.-backed militant group being trained inside Washington's Al-Tanf base in eastern Syria, appointed a former ISIS chief as their commander. I don't think he had to grow out of ISIS. What are we doing in Syria? Oh, right, stealing their resources. That's right. House Speaker confirms he'll invite Netanyahu to address Congress. Major slap in the face. Major slap in the face to a whole lot of Americans who are against what's going on with the IDF and the U.S. military and government. Oh, right. But he's an evangelical Christian who's so into Jesus. Kill all of those people because, I don't know, it's going to bring back Jesus. This guy. Sick motherfucker.
Because what it registers to me as is power. Real power hiding behind a veneer of victimhood, the kind of power that can take somebody out and end their entire career if that person says something that they don't like. And in this case, it's not that I'm saying things that they don't like, it's that I'm refusing to allow my voice to be controlled. want to be clear to you guys. I'm going to be honest with you because everybody's noticing it. Every single political commentator in America, every single one of them knows this, that if you do not step out and say things that are radically pro-Israel, or if you are too quiet on certain narratives and they want you to be radically pro-Israel, you can lose everything. That's truth. That is a fact. I'm not feeling like I need to hide from that anymore or be afraid to say it, rather, is a better way to say it, because I've endured this for years. I'm just at the end of my rope. I have given so much rope here and I am just done with it. Every person that you are a fan of, they know this. Every person that you line up to go here speak, they know this. Again, it's not even on the basis of what you say. It can sometimes be on the basis of what you don't say. That an entire mob will assemble. You'll write piece after piece after piece until you subjugate. If you don't subjugate, the bounty grows larger. So yes, there was a large bounty on my head for the crime of refusing to suddenly hate Muslims and to condone Muslims getting bombed October 7th. Everybody can see that. I have said.
So you know that she was canceled. She doesn't need the Daily Wire, but she was canceled. Ben Shapiro. Oh my God. Candace Owens. For daring to question. Yeah. And then also talk about, well, this started a long time ago, like very soon after October 7th. And yeah, she was questioning what was happening with the IDF and said, well, this is looking kind of genocidal. And I'm not even sure that she used that word. And that was it. That was it. But she didn't stop. She kept going. Talking the truth. I don't care. I don't care what color people are. I don't care what sex people are. I don't care what religion people are. I only care if you're evil or you're good. And that comes about in your actions. The neutral, yeah, well, unfortunately, there's so many of them that they put themselves on the evil side because they allow it to spread. Okay. But conservatives go after their own when their own questions or goes against their false narrative because they have an agenda. So, it's bad. Conservatives, liberals, they're both into canceling. They don't care about free speech. Their values mean shit if they don't actually practice them. Their principles are crap unless they practice them and hold firm, even when it hurts, even when it goes against what you want. You hold firm to your principle. Not a whole lot of people do that, you know? And I will tell you that if you are somebody who does it, I bet you haven't had an easy time in life. So, have another window, but not much. We'll leave it at that. And, stay safe. Do what you can in your communities to help people, to establish yourself as a trustworthy human being. You give your word. It's the most important thing. You keep your word. Give it, you keep it. And live honestly, speak honestly, help those in need. You never know what you may need coming down the pike. It may very well work to your benefit. That's not why you do it, but yeah, there might be some reciprocity when you need help. So there's an awful lot of people who are in need. Help them. Extend yourself. Do what you can. And on that note, I just say, I really do hope that you all stay safe, and thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night, and good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.